Today we are going to talk about playing Storm, right? And the issue with Storm is that her cards are really good, and you can almost play her any way you want. She works really well in every single aspect. One of the ones I've been experimenting with her recently is actually in leadership and doing kind of a ready up build because she's so good at controlling the board state that once I get all my allies out there to help me out, she's really strong. She's really strong. She's really good overall. So this is just a way I like to play her. Again, this isn't the best way per se. This is just one of the ways and kind of the ways I've been like having the most fun with her right now. So let's go to that table. Let's go check out the deck. If you're interested, the deck link will be in the description, so you can just see it there if you want to. But let's go to the table and talk a bit about the cards first. All right, so we have all of Storm stuff down here in the corner. These are her weather support cards down here, and we'll work left to right, starting with the allies. Now, this is going to be an X-Men focused build, so we do want to make sure all of our allies are X-Men allies. Now, so you can switch some in and out if you would like, but they all have to be X-Men in order for this whole like idea to work. So we have Forge, which honestly you could replace. I just put Forge in there because he's a cheap ally, but you could replace him if you wanted to. That's not that big of a deal. There's just really, what does it say? After enters play, look for an X-Men X-Force support. You'll be able to get Utopia and X-Jet into your hand, and that's it, right? I think that's it. Yeah, I think that's it. I think that's all you would be able to do to add to your hand. So he doesn't really have as much value as he would normally, but again, I'm really just kind of using him as a cheap blocker to kind of help us out. X is always good. X is going to give it to you. Remove 3 threat to confuse a villain or to flip down, and then Angel becomes a bit cheaper, and I like Angel a lot in X-Men decks. I think he's really strong. Now, the leadership cards, what makes leadership interesting is that we have Pixie. So Pixie states that after you play Pixie from your hand, add an X-Men ally from your discard pile to your hand. This can be really great for somebody just blocked or somebody else that you want to get in to easily be able to get them back in, which is great. Gentle, which is 3 costs, 1/3/3, so a strong attack card. Gentle takes 1 consequential damage after he attacks the villain. That's the only bad part with Gentle, but hopefully we can get around that, and I'll show you how. Not that we get around it, but we make the most of it. Mirage enters play. Choose an enemy whose scheme is less than Mirage's. You get to stun that enemy. Can be really strong and good, but she only has 2, so you have to boost that up, which there are ways to do that. Then we have Havoc. When Havoc attacks, discard the top card of the encounter deck for each boost icon. Discard this way. Havoc gets +1 attack for this attack and gains 1 consequential damage. So again, Havoc can be really strong depending on what you throw out there. And then Beast. Beast is our 4/2/2/3 card. And Beast states that after it enters play, you get to look for a resource card and add to your hand, which can help pay for other cards. So we then have about 6 events, right? And these events are Get Ready and To Me, My X-Men. The idea of this build is that you want to be able to ready up your X-Men allies so they can swing for a lot or do a lot of thwarting or whatever you need them to do, essentially. So Get Ready, for example, all this is a 0-cost event that just you use it and you get to ready an ally. As simple as that. To Me, My X-Men is an interesting card. You can only play if you're an X-Men trait. So you have to be on your hero side for Storm. And you get to search the top 5 cards of your deck for an X-Men ally, put it into play. If the ally is still in play at the end of the phase, add it to your hand. So it's a really nice way to be able to get some of these expensive allies like Beast. Put Beast into play. When Beast enters play, you get a double, right? For a 1-cost card, you get an ally out there, plus then you get a double, and then really get to work with that. You can really use any of these allies and they'll be pretty good, but Beast is kind of the best example of that. So those are our event cards that we will use. Then Uncanny X-Men is our support. Now we can only have 1 of them in, but I think it's so important to get it that I put 2 in this deck. So each of your X-Men allies gets +1 hit point. This is important for when they ready up, right? Because you don't want them to get knocked out right away. And then if each of your X-Men has each of your characters has the X-Men trait, each of your X-Men allies costs 1 fewer resource to play. So you put that into play, all of these allies become 1 cheaper. So some of these become, Forge becomes a 1-cost ally, X becomes 2, Angel becomes 2, Beast becomes a 3. Like, they just become so much cheaper. Uncanny X-Men is such a great card, as long as you're running kind of like an X-Men deck. So that's that support. Then we'll get into Command Team, and I have 2 of them in here. Command Team, exhaust Command Team, remove 1 command counter for it, and ready an ally. Once again, this is a different way to ready up an ally. You won't always have Get Ready, but the idea is that we're going to be wanting to ready up allies as much as possible to take people out. Then we'll do up, or I guess we have 2 more supports. So we have the X-Jet support. This is just a resource generator. You could probably take this card out and flip it with like an endurance if you rather have more life, if you're kind of struggling in that aspect. It's not completely necessary, but I do think it's a strong, decent card. And then Utopia, after an X-Men ally enters play, exhaust Utopia to ready an X-Men character. This is good for readying us up, right? We put somebody else in. Storm is a 1/2/1 stat line, but you do have the ability with Thunderstorm to add an extra attack. So now you be +1 damage for you and everyone else on the board. So now you're swinging for 3. You can ready yourself up, swing for another 3, right? If you have not Pixie, but let's take somebody else. Let's take Angel, right? Angel has 2. Then you have Thunderstorm. So Angel does 3 damage. You can ready up Angel and swing again. Like, you can already see how it's kind of building off itself. Then last is Danger Room Training. This is a little trickier to get in because a lot of people don't like this stuff because if you use your allies as blockers and you're not healing them up, which we don't really have a way to heal them up, that is another card you could add as first aid if you want to heal them up and really work on someone. But I just threw them in because more or less if we have it set up where we can have our X-Men get +1 thwart, +1 attack, 1 extra hit point. So now when we're readying them up, they're doing just a little bit more damage, right? You're looking at, let's say, Beast now, for example, is swinging 3. So he does 3 damage. You can ready him up with a card. Let's say Get Ready. Now he swings for another 3. Then you can ready him up again with, Command Team, right? So he swings for another 3. You can already see, like, now Beast is doing all this damage, and you can still use him as a blocker. So that's kind of the rough idea. And then we have our double cards up there, just our standard double cards. A lot of this deck is going to be based off of the timing of what you do with weather cards. The weather cards are very, 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 very strong with Storm. Now, we didn't even get into her cards, but basically her cards should complement whatever you're trying to do, right? So Storm's Crown is a huge one to get in, so you can do some more thwarting if you need to, but it's really a resource generator. It's a little bit cheaper than X-Jet. That's why I say you can take out X-Jet if you don't want X-Jet in, because you should be able to get a resource generator in with Storm's Crown. Then Weather Goddess is great because now we can flip back and forth on cards and use special abilities because her hero side states that we could just swap it normally and resolve its special ability. So Weather Goddess, let's say we want it to be on Thunderstorm, but we have a card, where is it? Like Weather Goddess. We can use Weather Goddess to flip it over to Clear Skies so we can draw a card and then use our ability to flip it back to Thunderstorm to then deal 2 damage to your enemy and get a +1 attack, right? So you kind of have to play it that way, which makes hopefully some sense. But let's talk a bit about strategy. All right, so we already talked a little bit about strategy, but let's dive into it a little bit more. The idea is I like to personally use her deck to complement the X-Men deck, right? I consider her the leader of the X-Men in this deck, and I'm using my allies to ready up and either remove threat or using them to deal more damage, right? Play them on different parts of the board. There's a lot of setup involved, which is kind of tricky, right? It's the hardest part of this deck. So you have to kind of really judge on what your hand looks like with what you have going on. You have to look at what your hand is doing and to decide what support, whether to play in. It's you kind of have to play as you go and figure it out, but there is some building involved. So, like I said, the rough idea through all that rambling was that we want to get our supports out there. This is one of the decks that I use that is a longer game deck, right? I'm trying to make the game last a lot of rounds because I want to get all these supports and upgrades out there, stack them on my allies, and then be able to play them for cheap with, to me, my X-Men or whatever else, and then do massive amounts of damage or thwarting with those heroes, or with those allies. And then whatever I could do with Storm, do that on top of it because her cards are bunker strong as well. So let's do a couple of practice hands, right? We'll do some entry hand or first initial draw hands and do some of them and try them out. And then we'll do some later stage hands as well. All right, so we have Storm out on the table. I just have Hurricane set up in the very beginning. So again, the first round, the first phase, I guess, for you is really going to be kind of more of a build out phase. That's my idea, is hopefully get them out to kind of get myself set up for bigger and better things later down the road, but also manipulating her weather deck to see if we can get some bonuses from it. So it doesn't really matter what you start with. I start with Hurricane a lot because, I start with either Hurricane or what's the other one? Blizzard, and the reason being is because I'm going to be switching off of them, and I want to look for the special bonuses. So you can actually we can start with Blizzard. It's probably the better one to start with anyway. And we draw our 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have To Me My X-Men, which could be good right away. Torrential Downpour, probably not. Command Team Mirage. Okay, so I like the idea of To Me My X-Men. 1, 2, maybe that 1, 3, 4. All right, we'll dump those 4 cards. We'll keep Command Team and To Me My X-Men. I want to start building with being able to ready up as we go along, and To Me My X-Men is a way to get some cards in pretty cheap. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ooh, okay, that is not what I expected to happen. But that's fine. That should be fine. All right. So let's flip up to Storm. And in doing so, what I'm actually going to do is switch to Clear Skies. And we get to do our special. So I get to draw a card. Or a garden, which doesn't help a ton, but that's okay. So we'll throw away a double to put in Command Team. So we already have our Ready Up ability, which is nice. We'll do To Me My X-Men. Throw away To Me My X-Men and use another one. Actually, do we want to throw away that one? Let's throw away the garden first. To search the top 5 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And oh no, it actually did not work at all. We didn't get what we needed, which stinks. So that's kind of a waste of a card. Which is less than ideal. But then we can use a double to play Utopia. We might hold on to me my X-Men a little bit. And then we would just kind of go from here, right? We do their 2 attack. We can't ready anyone else up. So hopefully we survive the next round. I'm going to hold on my X-Men card again. So it's going to be 2, 3, 4, 5. So, for example, we have Weather Goddess, which is going to be interesting because what we could do is our natural ability to flip to Hurricane. So we could just remove 2 threat from a scheme, right? It's probably been building up. We can use that to get rid of it. Then we can use Weather Goddess to change back to, let's say, Clear Skies. So now we can draw a card, Storm's Crown, which is fine. And then we can now use throw away To Me My X-Men to play another one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now we can get Gentle and put Gentle into play. And now Gentle can be our attacker, right? And I don't have enough to play Uncanny X-Men, so I'd probably get rid of these 2 cards to now put in Storm's Crown. Also, we should have exhausted before this because we could have done 2 attack, exhausted Utopia when Gentle came into play. Then use Gentle to attack for 3 or whatever else, and then use Command Team to ready him up. And we're already starting to build just a little bit. We have Storm's Crown as a resource generator. Let's just say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We draw 5 more. We get a lot of attack. An Uncanny X-Men. Oof. So there's a couple ways you could do this. You can either deal damage to minions. You can deal a lot of damage to the villain if you're ready to start doing that. Or if you just want to play Uncanny X-Men, you can do that as well. So, for example, in my next turn, I may just switch to a Hurricane, remove 2 threat again, right? Keep that down. Dump all 3 of my attack cards to play Uncanny X-Men. Or you can use Storm's Crown to generate a weather resource to hold on to Lightning Bolt or something like that. So now we have that in the play. So everyone gets 1 HP, and then we can use Weather Goddess to, let's say, put in the attack card, right? Deal 2 damage to enemy, and now Gentle is now doing +1 attack, and we're doing +1 attack. Then we can use this to ready up Gentle, and then attack for another 4. So now Gentle's attacking 8 total in this round. Probably knocks himself out by this point. But you can already see kind of how it's already building off of itself fairly quickly, and a lot of our allies we haven't even gotten ready yet, right? Forge, Beast, Havoc, Professor X, we're still all down there. So that's just a quick example of how I would start doing it right away to kind of get it going. And we're already built out somewhat well, right? It's actually not a terrible build out right now. But yeah, that just gives you an idea of opening hand, what I would do. All right, let's say we're in late stage now, right? We have Angel out there with a Danger Room training on, Danger Room training on. So he's now at +1/+1/+1. So 2 threat, 3 attack, 4 life. Let's say Beast is out there. Let's just say they're at full life for now. We have Storm's Crown. We have Command Team. We have Uncanny X-Men. So everyone gets 1 extra hit point. We can ready up, and we have a resource generator. We're on Clear Skies right now. So again, let's say we're getting near the end. We're about to flip the villain. They have 2 life left, and 18 is on the next stage. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cards. Havoc, Weather Goddess, Mirage, To Me My X-Men. So what we can do is we could switch right away to increase her attack, right? Which is what we might want to do. So everyone gets increased attack now. So we deal 2 damage to the villain. They only had 2 left. They're now down to the stage where they only have 18 life left. I am going to use Mirage to play to me my X-Men. Search the top 5 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Weather Gods, Professor X. All right, puts an X. Oops, that should be done. That should be there. Puts an X, which we probably should have then actually thought this through. If we actually pay attention, we probably should have exhausted this to like attack 2 or something like that. But let's just say we did, right? We would have done 2 damage so that they're down to 16. X comes in and readies us up, right? So let's say we're ready up. We have 16 left. We still have a double Weather Gods and Havoc, which doesn't really help us a ton, but it's not the worst thing in the world. Actually, we would have had 3 damage because of that. So what we can do is we could use Angel for 2, 3, 4 damage. So now they're down from 16 down to 12. We can use Command Team to ready them up. So they're readied up. And then we can use them again. Let's say that gets Angel down. So what would we say? 16 down to 12. So that's 2, 3, 4 more damage. So they're down to 8. Let's say it takes out Angel for fun. So that's 8 life. Yeah, 8 life they have left. We exhaust Beast. So that's 3 more damage. So they're down to 5. We can use X. They're down to 4. We can use Us. They're down to 1. And then we can use the Crown. Actually, we don't even need to use the Crown, but we could. Actually, what we could do is we could play Weather Goddess to then play Clear Skies to draw a card just for fun, see what we get to get ready. That's cool too. Because each X-Men is now a bit cheaper. So we could put in Havoc using our Crown and throwing away a double. So they only cost 3, right? Because each of your X-Men allies gets +1 hit point if each of your characters is the X-Men trait. Each of your X-Men allies cost 1 fewer to play. So he only costs 3. Then he can attack for 2 or whatever it is. Then we can ready him up and hopefully he's not dead from getting consequential damage, but then we can use him again, right? So you can already see like how much damage we did so quickly there at the end. There is a little bit of math and there's a little bit you have to kind of figure out where X is or other allies to figure out if you want to exhaust somebody or not. But again, it's really just how you manipulate her weather deck and either drawing cards or using ready ups. But that's the rough idea, right? Readying up allies to kind of get them going, get them really dealing a ton of different damage. And it's nice because if you have to do small amounts of damage around the board for several minions, you can easily do that. All right, let's do another endgame situation. Let's say we're built out a little bit more, right? We have Storm's Crown and we have Storm's Cape. So Storm's Cape says after you resolve the special ability on your weather card, you get to ready up Storm, which can be really useful. We have X-Jet, we have Uncanny X-Men, and again, the Crown gives us +1 thwart, but also we can use it as a resource generator, which helps a lot. We have Havoc out there with Danger Room Training, and we have Mirage. So we're going to draw our 5 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's see what we get. So Lightning Bolt, Beast, Get Ready, Weather Goddess, Professor X. Interesting. So there's a few different things we can do here. What I would say is we could, for example, let's say again, the villain has 2 life left and we're trying to get them down 18 on the next stage. If I was to look at this hand and figure out what I wanted to do, which is so many things right now, what we would probably do is we would probably switch to Thunderstorm once again. Again, that's an easy way to get the villain down to the next stage. So it went from 2 down to no life. They have 18 on the next stage. This is also a big thing. I don't think I've mentioned this in my other videos, but I should, is you really want to time out when you're flipping the villain to the next stage, generally speaking, because whatever the next stage is, it's going to be tougher than the one you were previously on, obviously. So, for example, I am going to, actually, before I even did that, what I could have done and what I should have done is done 2 damage to take it down, then switch to Thunderstorm to do 2 more damage. Now they're down to 16, and I get to ready myself up by exhausting this. So now I'm able to swing again. That's what I should have done. See, I'm not even playing Storm right. There's so many moving pieces going on with her, but it's so much fun. So now let's say I want to put Beast in. We can Uncanny X-Men makes him 1 cheaper. We can use X-Jet and the Crown. So now we only have 1 left, and let's throw away X right now. It's not going to make sense. So now we get him. We get to look at our discard pile. Let's say, is there a double in here? No, are they all in here? All right, there's a double. So then we get a double in there. And now what we have going on is that everyone just has +1 health, but there's no ready ups, or the only one that has extra damage is Havoc. So again, we did, what did we just say? We did the 2 through Storm. We switched to Thunderstorm. It did 2 damage. Now then 16 damage. Okay, so 16. What I would probably do at this point is use a double and a Weather Goddess to play Lightning Bolt, which we get from 16 down to 8 because it does 8 damage. And then Thunderstorm's in play, so we get to do 2 more damage. Now they're down to 6 life, or 6 life left. Now we could do another 3, so they're down to only 3 left. Havoc can do 4, so now they've been taken out. Mirage can do 2, and again we're getting Thunderstorm extra here. And then Beast could do 3, and then we could throw away a Get Ready. If Havoc was still alive, we could use Havoc again to deal damage, or Beast, or whomever. Again, you get the rough idea, but you're trying to manipulate the weather deck into whatever you're trying to do on the table. Sorry if some of these cards got pushed off to the side, but that's the rough idea of Storm and the way I've really been enjoyed playing her so far. All right, so for those that have a hard time figuring out what they should do with Storm, because honestly, any aspect with Storm works. Storm is that versatile. She's really, really interesting. She's a lot of fun. But this is the way I've been playing her because I like the idea of doing the different ready ups with X-Men and really boosting them. It's really, really easy to boost X-Men allies and just kind of lean into that strength with her, especially with the Thunderstorm card and manipulating that with Clear Skies to draw an extra card, or with Hurricane to remove 2 threat from a scheme is really easy too. And then you just play Weather Goddess to kind of, manipulate it some more. So anyway, hopefully you enjoy this. Hopefully you like this. Hopefully this helps you out a little bit. Recently I did a video with Gambit. I'll put it right here. We went through Gambit and how I like to play him recently. Not the best way, but just the way I like to play him. And if you made this far in a video, make sure to hit like, subscribe, leave a comment, all that fun stuff. I'll see you all next time.